Welcome back, everybody. We are continuing the 1949 map of Rose Lake Park, and I am Fisherman, and I am here again with
Wolf Tenor
and MattDownes.
And we are gonna try to cover the rest of the 1949 map. We have a lot to cover this time, so let's get going. This is about where we left off. We were here in front of the Stanley Wolfe Botanical Gardens, and we are going to come down around here. You may recognize the Dragon roller coaster from a couple of maps ago, Fascination Building here. And if you look straight ahead, you will see that the Noah's Ark attraction has a new home. It used to be right over there on the other side of the Dragon, and now it's here. This used to be where the Funhouse was in this spot. So when we rearranged things with the Carousel lawn and we built the gardens, Noah's Ark got a new home down here. And in the process of relocating it, we built on to the back of it and added a whole bunch of stuff. And now it's actually, as far as in-game things go, it's actually a full walkthrough with interior scenes and things like that. So let's take a look. So this is Noah's Ark. You can see that the whale in front, if you've been to Kennywood, you can probably tell that it was inspired by Kennywood's Noah's Ark attraction. In fact, the whole front is inspired by Kennywood's Noah's Ark attraction. And if you look at the top view is inspired by their Noah's Ark attraction too, including their emergency exit stairs down the back. So let's take a look at this. So you would enter from the front. Get my camera to cooperate. So you would enter from the front, and if the game didn't crash when you opened this to peeps, they would actually go through the front here, because there is a little tiny hoax ride, as small as you can make one, hidden down at the end of the queue path. So the queue path is actually the walkthrough part of the ride. So the peeps will actually go through the whole arc, through the whole fun house. They'll ride the little hoax ride at the end, and then they'll pop out the exit over here on the end here. So let me switch it to night mode. Looks better at night, and then we'll take a little POV. Have you guys been inside it?
Yeah, I did the full walkthrough at one point. Very enjoyable.
Did you see the farting hippo?
I think I missed that.
You missed the farting hippo.
What?
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 He says they're closed. Sorry, go away. Go up in here. So, one thing that I've done this with a lot of the things in the park, is we sort of, even though it's 1940 or 1930 or whatever, we've sort of built them in their modern day configuration just so we won't have to change them later. So this is the modern day Noah's Ark, because I don't want to change it again. So that's why it's got black light in it and everything. But there's some silly gags in here. Got the bees in that box and things for the animals. Umbrellas for when the rain starts. But you would walk through the little beanbag or the sandbags or whatever. All the goodies they've got ready for the animals. Some standard funhouse things. This is kind of... they may have even used some of the things that were left over from the Fun Palace that used to stand on this spot. You've got the little cakewalk things where you have to walk across the little obstacle course and things to get through. So you have the little rolling pin things you walk across there, and then the little rotating discs that you have to walk across. Of course, the arrows tell you which way to go.
Those are actually moving. Are they like spinning barrels or something?
Those are from the adventure set. They're the little gear things. And that's it's like the top of them sticking out. Yeah.
You'd not break an ankle.
Of course you would. Yeah, I'm sure that part would have to go away in the modern. Then you would come out to the outdoor portion here, and of course the arc part here would be rocking. And it has this little fabric skirt that would kind of like a bellows that would kind of expand as it rocked up and down, kind of keep the rain from the part inside. Nice view from up here. Alright. And there's Merlin from the last video, playing Noah in this video. There he is again, his twin brother.
We're keeping him busy.
We're keeping him busy. Emergency exit. And of course, this whole thing is rocking, so you have to make sure you hold on to the handrails as you go down. Very dangerous. And Kennywood's, I think, only has one staircase down, but I had to do two because I had to get down all the way to underground to fit everything. But in Kennywood, the staircase is actually sliding down here because of the rocking motion. It's actually sliding across the ground, back and forth. I guess it has a wheel on the bottom of it, so you have to be really careful when you step off the end of the stairs. So, be very careful. So you have all your animals, birds. I have one crocodile. I think the other one got eaten. A snake, and then there's a leak in the boat. Drinking water. Got cheetahs, penguins, and chimpanzees eating their bananas. And then here is the farting hippo. And here you can see, barely see it.
I missed that when I did the walkthrough. Incredible.
If you, of course, because of the way Planko works, if you stand too close, you can't see the effect. But if you stand far away, you can see it. But I'm sure you can smell it. But that's in honor of Kennywood's farting zebra. They have.
I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Yeah, we're doing this in the new smell-o-vision, aren't we? That's
Smell-o-vision. And then here, this is the sickening rocking room. And this is, I grabbed this from, do you guys remember from one of the early maps we had the haunted swing ride that I made?
Yeah.
It's actually the same piece. It's from, is it Pixelated's haunted house?
Yeah.
So I basically took 4 of them and I rotated them around and then I duplicated that. So there's like 20 of them in here to get this effect. But it works pretty well. They don't line up exactly, but it's pretty believable. It's pretty dizzying. It looks really cool when the peeps are walking through here because they don't seem to care. They just walk out through. So, and this is where, if you were on the actual attraction, you would go through and you would just exit out here through to the outside. But the peeps, what they do, this right here is actually the entrance to the little hoax ride that's hidden inside the building here. So they ride this little hoax and then they come out over here to the outside. Like that. So that's Noah's Ark. Pretty exciting. And the whale teeth are light bulbs. So it looks nice from nighttime. What do you guys think?
That did really turn out nice. That turned out nice.
Yeah, I was very impressed walking around that you managed to kind of cram it all into that space.
Well, I didn't cram it into space. I had to build the 2 buildings off the side. Shh, don't tell anybody.
Shh, no one noticed.
Well, while we're here, Redline, who is, I'm talking to him right now on Discord, Redline682 built stuff for us this time, but he was not able to join us on the recording. He is driving right now. But one of the things that he built for our park is this custom rotor ride, which is one of the very first things that we built for the park. That's my bird talking in the background. Is this wonderful rotor ride. These came around in the 40s. And so lots of detail. It looks very much like the ones that you would see at the time. 1,000,000 parts, lots of beams. But if you look down inside, you can see the all the details of the ride. So peeps would come up here, go around. They would go, they have the little observation deck up here, and then they would enter the ride through these doors in there, the operator up there. So he put all the details in there. Brilliant. The only thing I wish is it could be a real a real ride that the peeps could really ride.
Have you ever ridden one of those?
I have not. I don't think I could do it.
Years ago, they had one. I believe it was Magic Mountain in Valencia, California, had one, and somehow I was convinced to ride the thing. And it's the spinning doesn't bother me. It was when the floor dropped out
And you're stuck to the wall.
and you're stuck to the wall and it's spinning around. And you're just like, okay. Years before that, there was like the traveling ones that they would have at like the fairs and stuff. And my cousin and a bunch of his friends were on it. And his one friend said, "Oh, I don't know, I get sick on these things," and he got on it anyway. Well, three guesses what happened.
He barfed.
Yep, and it's stuck to the wall. And then everybody else had to then, as the ride slowed down, watch it then slowly
Oh, and then the smell. That would have been awesome.
drip. Yes. And you're stuck in there and you're spinning and it smells. And it's like, yeah. Anyway.
If you told me that story earlier, I would have put someone over there ready to hose it down.
Exactly.
For the 50th, we also changed the flowers a little bit in front of the floral clock. So we have 50 years celebration here going on.
That's something you'll see like all over the park in various places. We've slipped that in and decorated various things, haven't we? So
Yes.
we've gone all out.
We've gone all out. Across the bridge here, let me show you off a couple of things.
Look, more restrooms.
More restroom.
Phew, I was getting worried. I hadn't seen any for a while.
And there's actually some right on the other side of the coaster too. Can't have too many restrooms. So restrooms. But what I wanted to show you guys is the path used to go, you could only go to the right before and go under Bearcat, but now you can go to the left as well. So what we did is we continued the path across the front here. So the really cool station for Bearcat that Steve made, that looks like the, what's it called?
Pan Pacific Auditorium.
Pan Pacific. The Xanadu building, yeah. Pan Pacific Auditorium. So what we did is we pulled the entrance so the little entrance used to be on this side, and we pulled it around to this side so that people can enjoy the front of it more, and they can look out over the lake when they're waiting in line. So very nice, very peaceful. So that's that. So let's continue around here. This is actually, so if you guys recall, on the very first map, I had to go back and look. It was the 1899 map. Waggy had built us this boathouse that was the original boathouse for the original boats a long time ago. And he had put this apartment on top where I'm guessing Washington Bruin lived. And so what we decided to do, we have a new boathouse across the lake, and we decided to convert the old boathouse into a fancy restaurant. And so what I did is the original apartment on top had kind of an interesting structure, and I kind of tried to figure out how it would really work architecturally. It had this little skinny little part here, and then it had this wing that kind of hung over the roof over here, and you couldn't really see inside. It was just all windows that were the old Plinko windows that you couldn't see in. And so I decided to enclose the little garages for the boats and turn it into a restaurant. So let's go inside. It's pretty cool. I'm gonna let you hear the music for a second, and I'm going to turn it off because it's really loud. Let me mute it. I'll pause it while we're walking around. So this is what it looks like in the daytime. So I think I added a little bit on out here. I think we extended this little piece outwards a little bit. I think that's the part that we added on. But so you would come in here into this little foyer that was added. It's got a for the game dynamics, the little bar is a little steakhouse or barbecue restaurant, and then I have a restaurant block inside the little banquet room there, and there's a restroom block down there on the end.
I thought we weren't going to have any restrooms.
I know. There's another one right here. So this main room, this is where the host would be. They would take you to your table. You have the coats room there, coats closet, the piano, live entertainment. This is where the larger parties would sit. You have a nice fireplace. You've got the door to the kitchen in there. Lots of sort of nautical decor. It's very eclectic. There's lots of just sort of crazy stuff on the walls and things that you'll see when we walk around. That I apologize for the curbs, but the paths are kind of crazy going through here. But we had to get to the restaurants, and then the peeps can actually go out on the deck, look out over the water. So I'm gonna put it in night mode real quick. And so one thing, I was inspired by a bed and breakfast I stayed out in Galveston that had a lot of cobalt glass. They had transom windows over the bedroom windows that were cobalt. And so I used that throughout the house. I think I got that idea. We used that in the speedboat boathouse under the boathouse bar. So I kind of brought that over to the restaurant, the mooring house as well. So these are some more little rooms out here. So these used to actually be the garages where the boats were. You can still see the arched openings there. Over here. So up this way, so there's actually several levels. Go up these stairs. So this is one of Dolly's contributions. Matt worked with Dolly, the AI program, to make this one as well. So what did you type in for this one?
Good question. I think it's something about swans and willow trees and a lake or something. And it's
probably roses too. There's some roses.
Probably, yeah. I include rose or roses in most things, just try and tie in with the park. But yeah, that one turned out really nicely and works really well there.
Yeah. So I put that mural. I thought it would make a nice mural, maybe like a hand-painted wallpaper mural or something on the landing. Then we have one of the old portraits of the Major General. This actually came from his original apartment that was over the Swan Pavilion Theater. And then if you go up here, so this is sort of a mid floor between the levels of the restaurant. So they have a toilet up here, little landing, more little artifacts and tchotchkes and things on the shelves. This is one of the new portraits. This is the Major General. This is one of Dolly's portraits. Don't remember what you typed in for that. Major General.
Major General, probably, yeah.
Probably.
But it's there's a few of those around, isn't there? The new portraits generated with AI.
Yeah. And then Bullethead's old portrait, Fishington's old portrait. This little table out here. So this would be like the little honeymooners could sit out here. And if you turn the sound up, so you get a nice little view of the water from out here. You're kind of by yourself. You would have your own private waiter probably out here on the outside. And then upstairs, one more level. And you can go to the right. You have this little area. This is my favorite area. Looking out, so you can see the lake on that side, and you can see the Bearcat roller coaster out the windows on this side. Of course, me being a coaster geek, I would probably sit, I'd want to face that side. And then over here is the veranda. So take some steps down. You got the restroom there, and you have the veranda where you could sit outside. You can look either way out there. And I tried really hard to make it make sense architecturally because I really wanted to fit everything inside of Wagi's original structure. And so like the toilet makes sense. There's actually space for it here. So everything actually fits. So I tried to figure out fitting the staircase in there was a challenge because I had to have sort of the split level thing up here, but it works. And so
yeah, it came together really well. You crammed so much stuff in there as well. It's
and it's a lot of parts.
Yeah.
Way more than a blueprint.
Is that a custom railing?
It is. Yes.
Because it's angled and stuff.
That railing there. Yes. Because I wanted it to match the those, and I had to figure out how to do it. So it's all beams.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, where'd you get that angled? It's like,
Yeah. Yep. And these walls, so I had to match, when I made the stairs, we didn't have this plank sliding in-game wall, didn't have that exact slope.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to build this. This is actually made of those thick wooden beams. So they're just stacked on each other.
Stacked. Okay.
Yeah, and I had to tilt them a little bit so they looked like the beams. So yeah, there's a lot of work in there. It's like a million parts, but it looks neat. I like it. I like how it turned out. So that's that. And if you go out on the deck here, you can see the lake. There's the lake. Nice
And then-
views.
A nice view of a billboard there as well, some more advertising.
That's right. Advertising. Let's take a look. Zoom out on it.
That's another Dali one. It's fishing on Lake Raamaw.
Yeah, something like enjoy fishing on Lake Raamaw or something like that. Yeah. This guy doesn't quite know how to do it, though.
Well,
he's got a stick or something. He's like, yeah, I'm sure I'll catch something with this.
He's trying to catch a rose, but that's okay. And
Or
her fishing pole is really thick.
she's just gonna throw a tree in the thing, and she can get done with it. And then that one guy in the boat in the background looks like a collie. Like, what is that back there?
Well, Dolly needs some work. All right. So let's go back to the.
Dali's done a better job than I would have done if I'd tried to make those.
Well, so thank you, Wagi, for this amazing structure to build on. Had good bones. All right, so we're going to work our way around the lake and look at some things that we've added. More restrooms. Yay! So speaking of lots of parts, so this is... I'm not sure who made the Looper ride. I used to know, but I don't know who it is. Squirrel cages, I've heard them called lots of things. This one's based on the color scheme of the one at Knoebels. But lots of parts. This has a ton of parts. But yeah. I don't remember how many total. It's a ton.
You were just trying to outdo me, weren't you?
Yeah. 8,000 and something, so that's a lot of parts. But yeah, each little cage, the little curvy part, those are actually cables that I kind of tilted. They're curved cables that I sort of tilted over to kind of make that shape. And I spent way too much time on it. But
It looks great though. It looks
pretty believable. Thank you.
just.
I'd get sick on that.
Yeah.
They're oversized. They fit the giant animatronic peeps, but if you put a regular peep in there, they're pretty big. They're pretty tall. But I had to do that because of the scale of those little cables. Didn't work out otherwise. So that's the Looper ride. Let's see. Let's go down here. Work our way around. So we've got proper rowboats. And the boats themselves are toolkit items from the workshop. And as always, we have a couple getting ready to go out. And then we'll work our way around the lake on this side. Just speed my way around. Oh, one thing. We had a fire. So you guys may remember the old lodge that was up here. Finally burned down. So that's gone. And its haunted barn that was over there. Those are gone. Our guy that was fishing finally died. He's gone. Actually, I think he's still there.
He's still there.
He's there.
He's there.
He's there. Oh, and his bicycle. When did you fit that there? Did you put that there, Matt?
Yeah, that was one of mine. That was that's when I roughed up the bridge a bit. It was all looking very pristine, considering there wasn't anything up there anymore.
Oh my gosh. I love you guys. You guys add funny things.
And there's in that can you see the wood floating around in the top of the falls there as well from the bridge?
It's from the bridge.
I added that in as well.
Very nice. Your details are amazing. Okay, so let's. Am I missing anything? Am I close to the other thing you were supposed to show us?
No, that's.
Alright. Okay. Let's go around here. Zoom. So here you have a attraction. We're going to charge admission for fishing. So tell us about your fishing piers.
Yeah, so they that's what the billboard we looked at kind of related to, is these these little fishing piers, and there's a few of them around this lake. There's a guy fishing on that one. So yeah, I built a few of these. They're kind of they're sort of based off. I mean, here in the UK we have lots of country parks and stuff, and they have little fishing piers that look pretty much like these. So I put a few of them around this shore. There wasn't a huge amount of attractions and things in this general area, so I put these in.
Very cool.
And there's like little paths and little gates off of the main paths as well. So you can, if you've bought your fishing pass, you can go and find your pier and do a bit of fishing.
What would you do with the fish while you're walking around the park?
Just sling it over your shoulder, I guess. So,
and go ride the rotor.
yeah.
You can carry it with you on the rotor ride. All right. So what's going on down here?
Yes, this is a new kind of, I don't know, like wharf area, I guess. So you've got the guy selling water here, definitely not disguising the fact that this is the queue to the actual boat ride.
Starter water.
Guess where that bit of artwork came from? More AI. Yeah. We've got the Rose Lake Rowing Club. They've got their base here.
Cool.
And then to the other side is the Rose Lake Tours. So they've got their big boathouse here, and then this is I built the canopy and the kind of wharf area here. And this is kind of sort of taking over from where we had the what is now the mooring house, was the old kind of boathouse. So I kind of took that and expanded on it for a new boathouse, but I built kind of wharf area as well, and then added in the rowing club.
This is the new garage area for the boats.
Yeah.
It's where they would park the tour boats. Side. And as usual, you put all of your details inside.
Yeah, so yeah, there's space to park a load of boats along here, and there's in the middle there's the sort of the maintenance bay here. So there's an area where they can kind of lift the boats out and do work on them. There's a lot of like toolkit items in here, and a little boat up there on the shelf as well, with various parts and things. Built a kind of like table saw.
Danger. That is the cutest saw.
So the guys can do the work on the boat. I think there's another bike in here as well. Yeah. So this guy cycles to work.
Hey, that's smart. Because somebody planted trees in the middle of some of the paths, so they would need to use a bike to get around.
Well, and this is actually quite far into the park. Like if you kind of, if you're parked up in the main car parks and stuff, it's a bit of a trek.
Yeah, there's no way to get all the way to the back, without walking or whatever. And and never ask the Major General for a ride, because now that the steering wheel's on the opposite side, his driving is even worse than it was before.
Yeah, and I stuck one of the in-game boats in here to prove that I built it to the right scale. You could actually get a boat in there.
Yay!
Yay! But yeah, so it's the replacement for the mooring house. Yes, this is what's. I've got a little sign there that says Rowing Club Wharf. So this little area, obviously the guys come over with their speedboat and are tying that off here.
And how would they get to that?
Well, good question.
Funny.
How would you get there? But yeah, so I built this as well. So it's a little sort of sliding bridge, basically, that would go across. Obviously, not when that boat's there, but you do it by hand. It rolls across, connects up, and you can walk across between the two bits, and then they can pull it out the way as well when they've got boats coming through. This is an actual station, and one of the challenges we had with these kind of like boat docks is they're not the most realistic. So then you're trying to hide bits of it. So like I built the waiting area in the middle there to kind of try and hide that central section that's got all the railings around it that you wouldn't really have if you had this in a real park. So yeah, I did a few bits and pieces just try and hide it and make it look as real as we could.
It's quite a doozy to jump across there too.
Oh yeah, that's
Details.
Details.
When have we worried about oh, right, yeah, we like details.
Somebody falls in the water. What the heck?
Details. Yeah, and then the rowing club have got their kind of little area as well. So there's a little kind of a bit where they can park up some boats at the side of that. And then sort of round the other side, you've got the big doors that open out, so they can get their boats in and out of their boathouse.
And I love your little
the little shield with the
little crest that you made for them.
crest.
Awesome.
Yeah. There's some. I think the stars are it's the front of Christmas decorations, basically. I think
Yep.
just poking out of the wall.
That's perfect.
Been there, done that.
Yep. And also, as you come up the path off of the wharf, I thought, if you've just got off the boats and you walk up there, you can go, well, what is round here? What can I get to? So I put in a couple of signs at the top here as well for the various attractions and food and drink options. I've just noticed the bottom option on one of those signs is our jazz club as well. So the new boathouse, yeah.
Let's see what's down here. So on the back side of it,
hidden off to the back, we have our jazz club, the rusty trombone. So it's got a little entrance, and you go up some steps, and up on top of the boathouse.
Are we go inside?
There's not. Do you know what? It doesn't have an interior. It's just. But it does have a terrace. I did build the terrace. And this has got like a little stage out there for some live jazz as well, so you could listen to some live jazz and look out over the lake.
That's really cool. That would be really, really nice.
I mean, the view from there is beautiful. Looking out, you've got some live jazz music. You're looking across the lake at the other boathouse or the mooring house, and you've got the 2 roller coasters either side there as well. I think it'd be quite a spectacular view.
And your custom sign over here that Dolly helps you.
Oh yes, yeah. Dolly helped me make a jazz sign, which is on the side of the building.
A lot of Z's.
A lot of Z's, and I'm not sure it understands how a saxophone works, but
apparently you play part of it like a violin.
that's how you know it's jazz, right?
That's right. Very cool.
Yeah. And as always, we've tried to keep all the little details in there, and you've got electrical boxes, air conditioning units, guttering, and downpipes and stuff. And there's the wharf's the same. The wharf's got like an electrical box kind of connected up to the shore and all that kind of stuff. So, and
just
of course,
in case you forgot.
Just in case you forgot, 50 years
old.
And that all lights up at night as well. And all the signage on the front there for the 50th anniversary.
Well, I did want to show this off. You mentioned it just now. So I thought you were very clever in how you covered up the bollards for the queue.
Yes. Yeah, so there's obviously the tub of drinking water that the guy's trying to sell there, and then this is kind of the main electrical box for this kind of pier area where all the power connects from the shore out onto the wharf itself.
So we have electricity now because we're 50 years old. Over here, across this way, so you might notice this peninsula is different now. So this used to be the Flying Turns, and we burned it down, or something happened to it. I don't know. Probably burned down or flooded or earthquake or something. There's always something tragic happening at Rose Lake Park. But this is where we built the Rose Lake Racer that Matt teased. I think that was the last video, I believe. We looked at your sign that you made.
I think we did, yeah. You can beat your friends on the Rose Lake Racer.
But it is a Mobius Loop racing coaster made by John Miller, who made Kennywood's. And if you look at it, if you know the layout of Kennywood's Racer, this one will look very familiar. It's a larger scale sort of mirror image layout, very similar to it. It's almost the same layout, but mirror image and biggie sized, basically. But it actually is a Mobius Loop, so the trains will leave one side of the station and come back on the other. And I have a blue train and a green train that will race each other. So the blue one will end up on this side and the green one will end up on that side on the next time they go around. So it's pretty cool. So it actually works. If you go look in the station is very wide, just so that we could fit the 2 operating stations side by side in there. So it's got one path wide in between for the exits, and then the 2 entrances on the outside.
So both sides have got a station as well. It's not a...
Yes. The original version I had it just kind of fly through on one side, but then I decided to make them both actually operating stations so that they would always sync up. And so now as long as you put them in race mode, then they'll always leave at the same time. They both fly through the circuit twice, so it's kind of like Twisted Colossus at Magic Mountain, just for the sake of the game dynamics. So as you can see, when they come back in here in a second, they will fly through the station and swap places. So how it works is you've got a kind of a mirror image queue line on both sides that wraps around, and as you're waiting in line, you can watch the trains kind of fall out underneath you and go through the tunnel, and they go up the lift hill in the back. So kind of wait in there, and then when you exit, you would join with the riders from the other train and go back out to the middle there. That's how that works.
I did some tests a long time ago when we were talking about this of building like these Mobius racing coasters, and I really struggled. So I was so impressed at how well you got this working.
Thank you. It took forever because you can't build track. You can't build a station through existing track, but you can build track through an existing station. And so it took forever for me to get these to line up. I basically had to build one version of the Mobius loop, save it as a blueprint, delete the station, delete the track through the station, bring it over, line it up exactly, and then rebuild the station. Rebuild the track on both, going through the station. It was a mess. It was crazy, but it worked. I finally got it to work.
It was worth it. It's it looks great.
So let's take a ride through this. All right, let's see what happens. You get some nice views of the lakes on both sides. You can see Rose Lake on that side, and then Lake Raamaw on that side. It's hot. And this coaster also has lights all the way around it. This one was very challenging because it doesn't have any straight track except the lift hill. It was like all curves.
Looking at this the other day, looking at all the lights you'd put in, and you must have spent so long.
Some of you may notice that Bearcat didn't get lights on it, and I'm like, I gave up. Maybe for the 1959 map. Another year and a half to put lights on it.
You're going to burn it down before you put lights on it.
No, Bearcat's gonna stay because the station is so good. We're catching up.
So we're losing. This isn't fun.
I think we might win.
Close. Where's the finish line? We're there.
We're almost there. Are we gonna win? Oh, that was close. Too close to call. Anyway, you get the idea. We won't go through the other side. But the other side's just the same. But pretty cool. It's a fun little ride. It has a storage track, maintenance track that comes off of this leg of it. Because it's a Mobius track, either train could come off and be stored over here. So that would work. So if they did want to only run one train, they could keep the other train on the storage track and still run one through both sides. So that's that.
I love the little kind of plaza you've built up here as well, and next to Michaela's and stuff. It all kind of ties together nicely.
Thank you. That was kind of out of necessity because the two tunnels that carry, so you see them better dark. The two tunnels that go underneath are pretty tall, so I had to kind of build this up.
Yeah.
And I had to put the path out over them. But yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, in Planet Coaster, the when you tunnel through something, the game creates this huge keep out zone. So, and you can't have path close to anything. So that's why I had to have that much clearance between them. So let's see. Michaela's has a restroom underneath it now. So in case you're wondering, we do have a restroom over here.
Oh, phew. I was getting worried. I hadn't seen one for a while.
All right, so that brings us to Rose Lake. So this is the big lake, in case you guys didn't know, is Rose Lake. So on Rose Lake, way over here at the far end, we have some things to look at. So Redline built us, he based this on Westview Park, had a building that looked very similar to this styling. So he built us some restrooms,
Excellent.
games, and a Eyerly Fly-O-Plane ride. And he's got a little hot dog and corn dog stand over here. And something that I thought was very clever that I didn't notice until I just happened to be over here one day and I accidentally flew through the wall. And I'm like, what? But he actually hit a hot dog stand right behind the wall there. So the peeps will actually come up here, and as they'll look like they're putting condiments on their hot dog and corn dog, but they'll actually be buying real ones, which is pretty cool. So we have more games over here. So that worked really well. I love that he used these muted colors. Really does make me think of an old postcard. Brilliant work, Redline. Thank you very much for doing this for us. It's great. Turned out really nice. And then over here, we have an Eyerly rocket plane. So Eyerly did a bunch of O-planes. They did roll-plane, rocket plane, loop-a-plane. A bunch of those in the park. We have a new arcade. So they moved a bunch of the old penny arcade games to this building across the lake. We have, so you can see some of the old mutoscopes and things from the original arcade. As well as some new variations of pachinko and pinball from the 40s. So pinball was a thing back then. And so I actually looked up some real vintage pinball games and put the billboards in there. So they look pretty authentic. This is a blueprint from the workshop. I did not want to make a new foosball table, so I did use this from the workshop. And I forget who made it, but thank you, whoever made this. I will credit you. And then we've got all the rest of the arcade things from the original Penny Arcade are over here. And then we've got more backstage over here. And then we worked. I guess I started the building, then Matt finished it up for us. But
you built the kind of the main kind of structure of everything. And I added some details.
Yeah, so we have we wanted to bring the boats over to this side so they could get to the rides over here. And we added, and this, to cover up this strange thing that Frontier decided to put on every load platform, we added this really cool.
Yeah.
What did you put here?
It's the 4 Barrels brew pub. So cool because there's 4 barrels.
It's 4 barrels.
Yeah. But yeah, this it was trying to find a use for that space that Frontier, in their infinite wisdom, added to all of these. So rather than doing the same again and trying to put a waiting area in or whatever, I thought, I'll try and we can put some of these picnic benches in. We can have these lamps and things, and make it into this brew pub. So yeah, I've got the barrels there. They've all got the taps and
that was just crazy detail. And you put ice in the barrel and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then the beers are sort of obviously named.
I see that.
Again, this is probably maybe a little more modern having that kind of selection of beers. But yeah, we've got the Rose Lake Lager, the Major General IPA. He's got his own beer, and then Paulusiana was a park that I've never finished, but I started building that sort of exists within the same universe, and Peepsburg is obviously mentioned quite a lot throughout Rose Lake, so that's where the names of the beers came from.
I just realized you put little electrical fixtures for the lamps underneath.
Yes, yeah. I put all the lamps on the tables and then went, I got to power them somehow. So there's cables going down to the floor underneath each of the lamps. And there's a few bits on here, and the sort of towards the back, where you see the sack barrow over there. There's also resting up on the side there, so it's actually made out of a couple of ladders. But again, similar idea. Obviously, how do people get across? Okay. How are you going to get across to this sort of storage area over here? So they've just got a slightly more rudimentary method of getting across. You literally pick that up and kind of drop it across the gap so you could walk across to the other side.
Or you could just drop that in the water and build a new one.
Also an option. Because again, that's a frontier thing. They've got this sort of extra bit on the side of those boat docks that in reality you may well not have.
Yeah.
It's like nobody ever uses them.
Yeah. You can't get over there. What would you do?
Yeah, exactly.
So we have this. You might have heard the music. Another carousel, but this is a very special kind of carousel. This is a Prior and Church Racing Derby carousel. Totally custom made. I think it has something like 16 quadrillion parts in it, something like that. Quite a few. It's got a lot of parts in it.
Still trying to outdo me on the parts count.
I am. I think each horse has like 17 billion parts, something like that. But so it's got 48 horses, and yeah, so this was a Prior and Church Racing Derby. So if you're not familiar with these, they don't have a whole lot of these still in operation. I know we have 2 in the U.S. at Rye Playland and Cedar Point, and then 1 in Blackpool, the U.K. So the way they work is the horses kind of go back and forth in these little tracks as they go around, and it seems like it's random when you're riding it. So you're not sure if your horse is going to win its little set of 4 or not. But in actuality, underneath there's like this huge mechanism thing with all these cams and undulating tracks and things that the horses ride up and down on. So it's pretty crazy. I saw some pictures of the way these things look underneath, and it's insane. Prior and Church were crazy for making this, but it's amazing how they work. So I tried to make it as accurate as I could. It's a little compact, like, don't tell anybody, but if this horse was all the way to this end and this one was all the way here, this one would kick that one in the head. But who's counting, right? But so yeah, no 2 horses are the same. I spent a couple of days repainting all of them to try to make them all different.
Yeah, the fact you're able to recreate this in Planco is incredible. I mean, they say the original ones are complex enough in themselves without then trying to build it out of parts in Planco.
It was a lot of fun. I toyed around with making, using the end game, the giant carousel horse that we have, but I really wanted one with 2 seats on it. Try to get a couple people to help make custom horse twists for us, and that kind of fell through. I tried to make a custom horse for us, and I gave up. I'm like, TMTK, yeah, I gave up on that. Tried to learn Blender for a while. I'm like, nah, don't have the patience for this. I'm just going to make something with 3,000 parts in it. Oh, I did. I think I don't remember how many parts was it. About 300 parts per horse. So it's okay.
Times 48.
Is what? What's the answer?
Yes.
Yes. It's a number.
It's a number that's definitely more than 300, right? 14,400.
A lot.
Just on horses.
What's the building?
Yeah, plus everything else. That's just the horses.
The building blueprint, each of the 1, 2, 3 sections each has 3,500. So yeah, that's a lot. A lot of pieces. But it was worth it. I think it looks really cool. But I tried to make it as accurate as I could. The floor is actually sloped in. So it's actually sort of a very shallow cone shape. So that all the horses are kind of banked. So I studied photographs of, Cedar Point's Racing Derby and the one at Wright Playland to try to get everything as accurate as I could. And to get the floor like that, I actually used ride track. So that is that dark ride, the trackless dark ride tracker. And then these are made from the car ride and the remotion ride. So lots of tracked rides to build the platform in there.
That's a technique we've used in quite a few places in this park, isn't it? The using the track from other rides to build rides that don't exist.
Yes.
I saw the portrait there as well. Is this also dedicated to the MG?
Yes, also funded by the MG. He had a lot of money from all of his shows. So he just decided to put it back in the park. You see here. See what it looks like at night.
Well, that and his OnlyFans.
Oh my god.
It's only a matter of time before we brought that one up.
Yep.
Did they have those back in the 40s?
It just wasn't called that.
What was it called?
It was, a lot of it was newsprint. So
It's just telegrams.
exactly. Telegrams, newsprints, magazines.
Oh dear.
Pay for the MG to send you a Storsy telegram.
Exactly.
Just don't look at the horses up close too much because they
No, I like them because they have the buggy eyes. Those are my favorite ones.
crazy eyes and their muscles are all lumpy and everything. But yeah,
looks
there's a
great.
couple of them where their eyes are like really big because they're so close to the horse before them, and they're like,
Yes.
"I'm gonna freaking run into this." Like what?
No. All right. So now we're gonna swing around back to the boardwalk area. It's another red line creation. So because we had to relocate the whip, we did not relocate JP's original whip building. So we built a new building. So Redline built us this fit in a little more of a Americana style to kind of fit in with JP's original boardwalk buildings, with his shoot the chutes building that he made over there. So Redline, of course, is famous for his carousel structures, and he used that idea for all of his, gingerbread trellis work and everything to make us this fantastic whip building.
Is the sign custom as well? Like the whip sign on the front there. I don't recognise those letters. That was all.
It's a TMTK piece. It was actually
Okay.
we used it on the original.
I was going to say I didn't recognise the font style of it. I was trying.
Yeah,
If
John
you
used
built that
it.
was impressive.
Yeah. So this is his really fancy whip building that he built for us. Also probably thousands of parts. I don't remember. Let's see. It's several pieces. It's like 4,200 and some change. Very nice. Excellent work, Redline. Thank you for this contribution as well. All right, and then that brings us over at Von Steuben's. I want to show you one thing in Von Steuben's real quick while we're on this side. Where is Von Steuben's? Did I pass it up?
It's
Yes.
behind you.
So Dolly helped us with all the new portraits of the founders. So we had the founders room, restaurant, or banquet parlor room, or whatever. What did we decide to call that? The founders room, part of Von Steuben's restaurant. So we had Major Stanley Wolf. We have Andrew Thornton's new portrait. We have Fishington's new portrait. I think a print of that one hangs over the fireplace in the mooring house. We have Washington Bruin. That's amazing that Dolly came up with that for that one.
I think that's one of the ones I'm most pleased with.
We have City Trader's old one there, counting his money. We have Bullethead with his really big hat because his avatar picture always had a top hat on. So we did that. And then, where's JP?
Right
down the
there.
other side there, yeah.
JP's, this one's really funny. Very flamboyant. I love this one. We went through several iterations of this one before we settled on this version.
I love the feathers in the hat and the hat boxes and stuff. It all fits perfectly.
And then I found this. You were trying to hide it from us, but I found it.
Yes, this is Downtownton in his younger years.
Yes. Well, he's only 40 at this time, right?
Well, yes, quite. But yeah, this might maybe in his 20s when
Maybe.
apparently he had a panda.
He likes to ride pandas.
Yeah. We all have our vices.
We are almost done, guys. One thing I wanted to show before we look at the shows. We've heard them for a long time. Can you hear them? Do you hear them? Balloons. But we've never actually seen them in the park. But we finally spotted them. We have loons are very reclusive. We have a mating pair on the island in the middle of Rose Lake. And this one is actually sitting on an egg. There's actually 2 eggs in there, but you can only see one of them. Lunap 211 on the workshop. He approached me one day asking if he would like him to make us any custom items for the park. So I said, yes, make us some loons. And so he did. He made us a couple of loons for the park. So we actually have loons for Rose Lake now. Finally, after all these years, we finally see them. So they make an appearance. So we have loons, and then we actually have here biggie-sized loons that you can ride on. So we have a little kiddie ride that he made for us. It's kind of a little loon carousel that goes around right here. So the kids can ride the loons. So now we can say we are loony for real.
Presumably there's going to be some sort of conservation program in later years for the loons of Rose Lake.
Definitely. Of course, if you research loons, they're very reclusive and they don't like noises. And so we probably would not have any loons around our lake anymore at this point. But they would be, whatever this lake is over here, they'd probably be on that lake. They'd probably move over there at some point.
Well, yeah. I like the fact we've got a mating pair on an island in the middle of the lake, and then we've chosen to add something that we're going to show at the end of this video.
That would really scare them off. Okay, so I'm going to show this at night mode because it looks really cute at night. Wolf Tenor, tell us about this.
Well, of course, if you're going to do a 50th anniversary, you're going to come up with a new show for the pavilion. Or you can just take all the ones you did for the last 50 years and shove them all together and see what happens.
So what shows do we have represented here?
We've got Pirates of Penzance, we've got the Peepsburg Male Chorus, we've got the Cowboy Circus Band, I believe there's the cast of Anything Goes,
Moulin Rouge?
Moulin Rouge, and then Moulin Rouge too.
All right.
So everybody gets a little bit, just do a review of what they've done on the last, for the last few years, and actually they're set as a replica of the entrance.
I see that.
With of course, fireworks and banners, because one must always have fire.
Fire. Rose Lake had lots of fire. Lots of fire. Speaking of which, we're going to wrap this video up with a very special production of Rose Lake Park's 50th anniversary weekly fireworks spectacular. Well, it was spectacular at the time. Kind of a funny story here. You'll see why. But so they built this barge out on the lake. Let me turn on the flashlight so you can see it. They built this barge out on the lake, and these are the Fawkes quadruplets. They like to, they told the founders that they could, put together a nice fireworks show, but clearly as you can see right here, I don't really think they knew what they were doing.
Because that looks super safe.
Yeah, that looks really safe. And notice how they're on the barge while they're about to set off the show. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna get the show going. Okay, you guys ready? Ready as we'll ever be. I'm gonna stand back a little bit. I'm gonna stand back a little bit. I might want to get in the water.
Were fire extinguishers invented then?
I don't know. They should have been. Okay, we can get a little close because I want to see what's going on. Okay, ready? Here we go. I think they all went off at once. Oh, whoops!
And I think we lost a brother in the water.
Yeah. Oh, he's climbing back up. There he goes. Oh, there's more.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Oh, more. Hmm. Ooh. That must have been the finale. I think the whole thing was the finale, actually.
No, the finale is the brush fire he has started.
The finale is the sinking of the barge, right?
Yes.
Well, wouldn't that be nice on a Saturday night to, finish the evening with the fireworks on the barge? Well, that was very special. Actually, it would be really cool to be over here at Sir Montague's, looking out. Oh, the fire finally went out.
Until a rocket fell into your plate.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I didn't know I ordered, flaming dessert.
Flambe.
Really.
I feel like every thought I have about this park usually starts with, it would be nice to be on the terrace at Sir Montague's. I think it is the place to be.
Yes. Well, that is it, guys. We finished. And that video was an hour and 17 minutes long.
Just a nice short one.
Yes.
Keeping it short. And there's still probably lots of things we haven't covered that people can discover for themselves.
But I want to find it. Are you going to give us a hint?
I could.
Can you give me a hint?
There are other things that you know about we haven't covered as well. We didn't look at certain things, but
Like what?
we've got some of the decoration stuff obviously is kicking around. There's the 50 on Sir Montague's. There's some of the gazebo pavilion bits are all decorated.
That's right.
So we've got
That.
backstage, so the around the back of the kiddie land and stuff. There's the backstage bit for the trains and some of that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, look,
this
is yeah. I mean, they're all the same pretty much, but I did decorate, I think, pretty much all of these little pavilions.
Didn't you do custom signs for the pavilion show? Wasn't that like that?
Yeah. We've got,
Wasn't that what Dolly? Weren't those Dollies?
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
yeah. Darley made us some signs here as well.
And we just put we put English on that one.
Yeah.
Just to get it done. 50 years of Rose Lake Entertainment.
Yeah. 50 whole years.
50. It seems like only yesterday that was 49 years old. Oh, yes. So we wanted to come over here and see. So when we first came out of the train tunnel, if you looked back, you could see a little switch track. Go back here. So you have your own little tiny train yard. Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, it's a little wagon of coal there for the trains, and obviously, needed somewhere for these engines to be stored and maintained, and they're actual steam engines as well. So they need firing up in the morning. I think I named them as well. If you click on the engines, I can't remember what the one on there.
Oh dear.
Lady Lee. There you go. So that's Reginald Down Townsend's wife in the story.
Aw.
I think the other one's called Lily Bell because that was the first one at Disneyland, named after Walt Disney's wife.
Yes,
Yeah, there you
Lily
go.
Bell.
Yep.
There you go. So yeah, I did
That's
name them as well. But yeah, there's a sort of little train yard back there, the sheds, and a little yard behind those as well. There's a little track coming out the back there. That's how you would have got them in and out. So if they need to go off for maintenance or anything like that, you can get them out of there. And then we've got a swan boat, one of the kiddie whip cars as well outside the.
Just in case they needed a spare.
In case they needed a spare, there's perhaps there's been a fault or something. They've ordered themselves a new one, but.
Yeah.
And then there's a gate there at the back of the kiddie land area there, giving access to the backstage area.
That's
It's
pretty steep.
that is a
I
little bit
tried.
steep up to the
tried.
water tower, and
We did
Yeah.
try. Yes. Okay. Any hints of anything else we can look at?
I mean it's in that area. I'm surprised you still haven't spotted the
It's in this area?
to the top left of your screen now. There's a little.
Oh, the campsite?
There's one of the employees, I think, has not been paid enough and has had to camp out
Oh
in
my
the
gosh.
woods.
Oh dear. Chipmunk.
Because nothing like roasted roadkill.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not
Yeah.
paying our staff enough. They've had to find a hidden, secluded corner of the park.
Anything
South
outside?
Camp. There isn't actually. No, I should have done, but I did have to build like a frontage on the tent because there's not.
There's
It's
nothing inside.
it's an in-game tent,
Yeah.
but obviously the front's open on those. So,
That's adorable.
but this is to context for anyone that doesn't know the park very well. This is off to the back of we had like the sort of logging camp, didn't we?
Mhm.
Which is now all kind of shut off from the world. So they've found themselves a nice little secluded spot set up.
We
I
still
think-
have the coyote out here somewhere, don't we?
He
Possibly,
was.
yeah.
Well, he was back on the.
I moved him somewhere.
Oh, he
Here
was.
he is. Here he is.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I thought he was still back there.
Oh yeah.
Jackalope food. He's not trying to catch the roadrunner anymore. He's trying to catch the jackalope.
It's a local delicacy.
Aw, it is.
So yeah, that was a bit I hid in the woods that you hadn't found yet.
Should be something we do. We should start hiding things for each other.
Don't
I have
tempt
been
me.
hiding. I hid the raccoons,
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Raccoons.
and the pigeon and the flower pot was me. I did that too.
To be honest, it's most of what I do in the park is hiding stuff from you guys. There's my little trailer as well. We didn't tell the ball drop story, but there's my
Oh my gosh.
the little trailer that's
That's over here.
it's in
Right?
it's in the little backstage bit around the back of the dragon coaster.
There we go.
Yeah.
So originally where was it?
So originally the kind of the ball bit for the trailer was up, and then I had the sudden realization that I'd made the bit that would be on the back of the vehicle rather than the bit that would be on the trailer itself. So it wouldn't have actually worked as a trailer. So I had to drop my ball to make it more accurate.
You had to drop the ball on that one. And then we had all the silly jokes.
But yeah, most of my time is spent hiding things in the park and waiting for you guys to notice.
Guys, this was a beautiful map. I think
It's been emotional.
It's been emotional. Part of the emotion is because it takes 2 hours to open now. 2 hours and 20-something minutes for me to open the park now. I think only an hour for you, Matt.
Yeah, the last
So
couple of times it's only been an hour or so for me. But
you have far less TMTK than I do, so I think I need to go in and purge my TMTK collection and see if that helps the park open.
No, mine only
faster
takes
for me.
about an hour. But
How many? Well, I have a lot of toolkit stuff.
well, I do too because of my other park. So I have a lot of other extra stuff. But
Maybe it's just my computer.
because this one's fairly new.
Takes a long time to open, but it's worth it. So if you're out there, if anybody's actually watching this
Anybody's
video,
out
if you're actually watching this video and you want to download this park. Be patient. There's a lot of cool sound effects. We've got a lot of billboard images. No videos anymore. We used to have video files in here, but just billboard images. But it's worth it. It's so worth it, especially the sounds. If you want to hear the loons on the lake and the custom music files and things that we've got, it's worth it. We are already at work on the 1959 map. We've built a roller coaster. Matt's already working on the new infrastructure. We've got new roads, parking. We've got new bus terminal, all kinds of stuff already going in. So it's going to happen. Hopefully it won't be a year and a half. Hopefully it'll happen sooner than that for you guys. But we are working on the 1959 map already. So we're looking forward to watching that evolve and sharing that with you guys as well. And anything else you guys want to talk about?
Nope.
Nope. We're ready to go to bed.
I think, yeah. It's gone midnight here, so let's
tomorrow
stop.
already.
It's
And
tomorrow
almost
already.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many little details that we've all put into this park, so there'll be plenty of things we haven't mentioned that if you download it and go for a walk around, you'll stumble across all kinds of things. Lots of little jokes and lots of little details that have been put in. So it's well worth going and having an explore.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for participating, joining me. You guys and Redline, and Luanep did an amazing job contributing this time around, and I really appreciate all your help. So let's keep up the great work, and we will sign out for now. I am Fisherman.
I'm Wolf Tenor.
And I'm MattDownes.
And we will catch you guys next time.